Now, the University of Ghana branch of the University Teachers Association of Ghana has suspended their strike and hasn't resumed teaching this morning. UTAG members across the country reviewed their services about 4 weeks ago to press home their demands for the payment of the book and research allowances. Dr. Lagbong, well, I understand we have Dr. Simmons instead. Dr. Anthony Simmons is president of the UTAG. Right. Dr. Simmons, thank you very much for your time again this afternoon. But we've spoken about the fact that UTAG Legon chapter has resumed to the classroom. Did they inform UTAG, the parent body, that they had decided to go back to the classroom?
Yes, they did. But I should say that that is not right. It is against the constitution of UTAG. You may have different views, okay? But when NEC meet and we consider all the other views and then we make a decision, it is binding on every chapter. And therefore, Legon cannot go back and then re-debate, the decision of NEC and take a position. So it is wrong.
Dr. Simmons, please hold the line. I have Dr. Lagbong Bimi also on this conversation. He's also joining us from University of Ghana campus. He is president of that chapter of UTAG. Dr. Bimi,
yes.
You had Dr. Simmons. Total disregard for the constitution of UTAG. Not that we are not happy you're back in the classroom, but this is a typical example of a black sheep attitude. Why did you decide to do this in spite of the National Executive Committee decision not to go back into the classroom until something concrete had been done?
Thank you very much. You are right. And like the national president put it, for lack of a better word, I would say we have behaved as traitors, so to speak, because it was the neck of UTAG that took the decision on Monday that we felt the VCG's letter did not have enough commitment stated in there, or sufficient commitment wasn't demonstrated. But then Legon already had a problem where I wasn't on campus on Monday. By 5 o'clock, I was driving back and had a call from, I think, Radio News GBC or something, that there were some lectures on campus. I came to verify it was true. So after we took this decision, I even mentioned it to the national vice president. I was going to have a meeting and let my people know that, yes, this is the situation. Next day, we are on strike. Nobody should teach until they hear from our leader. So it was the instance of this that we had an emergency meeting yesterday, and our members said no, that they feel that the letter from VCG demonstrated enough commitment. So they resolved, and I said, fine, you can resolve, but this was subject to approval by the NEC of UTAG.
But did you get that approval? Because we spoke to SRC president for University of Ghana. He tells us that indeed those members are back in the classroom. Did you get that approval from UTAG?
No.
You didn't?
No. In fact, but they said they're going back this morning. And the letter, how are they get? I know how UTAG works. We send this letter, NEC will have to meet and look at it. But they said they're going back within 24 hours. So NEC had no ample time to even meet and look at this letter.
But Dr. Bimi, you sound as though your members took the decision with total disregard for you yourself.
I'm one of them, so I can now not exonerate myself, though, but I'm the leader. So I find myself between a deep sea and the devil.
Right. Dr. Bimi, hold the line for me. Let me talk to Dr. Simmons a bit. Dr. Simmons, this is what has happened. He's confirmed that indeed it was total disregard for the constitution of UTAG, the parent body itself. But what sort of toll would this have on the negotiation process?
Oh, well, we don't think it will affect the negotiation. I mean, the rest of the universities are together. We will, hold up the front. We know we're fighting a good fight, and this is in the interest of the university teacher, and we keep on doing that. It is so regrettable that it has happened so, but we are resolved that we'll see to the end of this fight.
Dr. Simmons, I'm curious, what have the other chapters been saying to you since?
Well, everybody is saying that we are on strike, and then they frowned on what has happened at Legon, and then I will use this opportunity to remind Legon that what is happening is against the Utah constitution,
right?
And there are repercussions you should bear in mind.
We'll talk about the repercussion, but Dr. Bimi, what now? You have gone against your parent body. You are in the classroom. What now?
Oh, I'm expecting a very harsh response from NEC, which I'm a member of still. Then I'll tell my members this is it, and I've demonstrated already. I've told them we have contravened the rules. There have been instances in the past when we have gone on strike and other universities have to cancel exams. So it doesn't matter the impact that you are going to feel as an individual. It's in the interest of UTAG as one UTAG, not UTAG Legon, UTAG somewhere else, not the various campuses. So they are aware of this, but whatever they informed the decision yesterday, I'm also here to come to terms with it. Painfully, I have to send this resolution to National Secretariat, knowing very well that if I were at the receiving end, I wouldn't even know how to handle it. So it's regrettable.
Dr. Bimi, just before I let you go, I want to know something. This concrete, concrete letter or concrete, something that your members say they had from the VCG. What did the letter really say about your grievance?
Let me tell you what it didn't say. We, NEC, wanted them to state in no uncertain terms that VCG was going to pay this amount. They didn't state that clearly. It could have been implied somewhere, but we're not satisfied with that. And secondly, as we speak now, the amount involved, we wanted our employer to have a letter to either they, the VCG, or to we ourselves, telling us that this is the amount involved and this is how we pay it. As we speak now, there is no documentary evidence that, yes, this is the amount involved. It hasn't been stated anywhere.
I see, but you still decided to go to the classroom. That's what my confusion is. You didn't have all of these assurances, and this is the reason over the four.
Every UTAG member on University of Ghana, we have an internet. It was circulated to everybody. They all read it, but the people saw it through different lenses.
Dr. Bimi, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Can you back up a little for me?
I said, University of Ghana, we have an intranet where we communicate. So I circulated this letter to every UTAG member. Unfortunately, it appears people saw it through different lenses. Next, we looked at it critically in our opinion. We felt there wasn't enough evidence. In fact,
was there any assurance at all in that letter?
The letter did not explicitly and sufficiently commit VCG to the payment of this money.
I see. Thank you very much, Dr. Bimi. Dr. Bimi is UTAG president for the Legon branch. But Dr. Anthony Simmons, who is the national president for the University Teachers Association of Ghana, is still with us. And then we'll just wrap up quickly with Dr. Simmons. Dr. Simmons, and so what now?
We would write to remind Legon, in case they've forgotten that they are part of the mother body, that what they are doing is illegal. That is one. And then we'll see their reaction. Based on that, NEC is going to meet. Whether they reply or not, still NEC will meet and then take the appropriate decision.
I see. What kind of sanctions does your constitution prescribe for situations as this?
Well, leave that one with us. I don't want to scare anybody. I really pity my brother, Bimi. I know how hard, he's distressed. But again, I don't know. It's so disturbing. But we don't know actually how he tabled the whole thing over there for us to get this feedback. But then NEC will meet and then the appropriate decision will be taken.
Yeah, I know you've spoken about the fact that this will not have any effect on the negotiation process, but tell me something. How soon would all of UTAG go back to the classroom?
As soon as, let me promise you, if the authorization from government would come just now, if somebody has an evening class, the person should go back and teach.
Right, right. Thank you very much, Dr. Simmons.
You're welcome.
Dr. Anthony Simmons is president of the University Teachers Association. As it stands, the association is still on its industrial action, except the quote-unquote black sheep, which is the Legon chapter that has decided to go back to the classroom. The president of the association tells us there will be some repercussions. Let's move on to some other stories. And the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and chairman of the Interministerial Task Force said the task force is making progress with the mandates given them. He said over 600 illegal miners have so far been arrested. After the arrest and deportation of some foreign illegal miners a couple of months ago, he spoke to my colleague Emmanuel Anta here in Accra.
President John Dramani Mahama on Tuesday, May 14, inaugurated an interministerial task force to flush out Ghanaians and foreigners engaged in illegal mining in the country. The 5-member task force were expected to work with the military and the police to arrest and prosecute Ghanaians and foreigners engaged in illegal mining. Task force was alleged to have targeted foreign nationals more than their local partners, but the chairman of the task force says this is not the case.
Ghanaians are subject to the laws of this country, and so where a Ghanaian is arrested doing illegal small-scale mining, he's sent to a regular course. It's charged in accordance with the laws of this country. During the implementation of the directive by the president, the task force arrested Ghanaians as well, many Ghanaians, somewhere in the region of 600 and over. And we are in the process of returning those machines to the people who brought them onto the small-scale mining sites in the first place. But even before we return the machines to them, we have said that it is important to use those machines to reclaim the land. And immediately after we've done that, we will then begin returning the machines to them.
He said steps are being taken to amend the small-scale mining law to discourage illegal small-scale mining.
The sentence regime is not that deterrent, and so we are reviewing the law. We have suggested some amendments to make any person who engages in small-scale illegal mining pay very heavy penalties, and we think that when that bill is passed into law, it will be deterrent enough to ward off Ghanaians. Presently, as I speak to you, the draft, the changes that were made has been sent to the Attorney General's Department, and I'm hopeful that when they look at it, they'll bring it back for me to do a memo to Cabinet for Cabinet's consideration and approval, and onward forwarding to Parliament.
The Interministerial Task Force, he says, has come to stay and cautioned all Ghanaians harboring the ambition of indulging in galamsey to be on the lookout. Emmanuel Ante, Joy News, Accra.
Let's now turn attention to Obuasi, where we understand the Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested some armed robbers. Over the last few months, the region has been plagued with a lot of robberies and shooting. Our regional correspondent Mohammed Nuruddin is joining us by telephone to give us an update on the situation. Hello, Nuruddin.
Hello, Kamini.
Right. What more can you tell us about this robbers' arrests?
Kamini, it's about it was arrest that police in Obuasi have made. They have arrested 10 suspected armed robbers.
Right.
Armed robbers in connection with recent robbery in the municipality. Then, according to the police, about 10 young men in July, armed with guns, robbed Chinese miners, some Chinese, and made away with 250,000 Ghana cedi, 39,600 pounds, and some valuable items. And the police have managed to arrest 5 of those armed robbers, and they have admitted the various roles they played in the robbery. 4 vehicles were also retrieved from these armed robbers, and according to the investigators, the vehicles were bought from the proceeds or from the money that the robbers took from the victims. The 5 robbers I have just mentioned are Stephen Inyamiyele, 29, alias America, Kwame Boadu Isaac, Kwame Inyame, Jamil Yakubu 23, Gordon Sasu 20 years, and 20 years. So these armed robbers plus others are in police custody. 7 of them are currently in remand at the Wasi police station, while 3 are in Jacobu police station.
I see. Now, last month, some robbers also shot and killed a Metro bus transit driver after they attacked commuters on the bus. How far with investigations with that, if you have an idea?
Yeah, the line is too bad, but if I have heard you clearly, the police are saying because that there was a death in that, there was a killing of the driver. The suspected armed robbers are not willing to confirm. Yeah, they don't want to associate themselves with that crime. But for the other robberies that occurred in Obuasi, they have confessed that they were involved in it and they actually took part in that robbery. But for the killing, because somebody has died, they don't want to associate themselves with that incident.
I see. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Mohammed Nuruddin is a Shanti regional correspondent. And we'll quickly move on to some other stories. Well, he's been telling us about the arrest of some 10 robbers. 7 of them have already been taken into remand. You're watching the Midday brief. And now, as we understand, a petrol tanker that caught fire has also, created some problems for residents. Let's take a look at that story.
The incident took place at the Sukbayiri Goil filling station when a petrol tanker with registration number GW778X came to the station to discharge about 9,000 liters of petrol. The driver of the tanker, 26-year-old Abdullahi Bachendi, told Joy News that everything seemed to be going on well until he was alerted by some of the fuel station attendants of the fire. He quickly jumped into the tanker and sped off to safety at the Tindamba Junior High School, which is about 1,000 meters from the fuel station.
Okay. And I can 9,000, and they say 9,000. 9,000 a year, and I'm not going to but you know, when you say, you will be a journey, say, I'm not coming. And I ever told most of the and a director friend says, you want to see no same as Swaki can you hear? I mean, 2 car police station. I'm going to do an
On its way to the park, the tanker bumped into an Opel car, a Royal motorbike, and some 3 refrigerators and bent them beyond recognition. Firefighters from the Ghana National Fire Service fought the fire close to 3 hours before they were able to bring it under control.
We'll be able to bring the situation under control. To immediately stand here and say, oh, this is the cause, or this is the problem, No, we cannot immediately do that. You can see the militia around us here.
The Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO Bakubie Martin, stated that there was no life lost, but several properties were destroyed. He was, however, not happy with the conduct of some members of the public.
This could have been a potential disaster, but luckily and fortunately, we have been able to bring it under control. So they should always give us room to operate. They should always give us room to operate, because this could have been in any other situation. We are professionals and we work as such.
Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
Away from the Upper West region, let's head for the Eastern region, where in the Fantiakwa district, residents of Ahomahomaso, a small farming community, are calling on government as a matter of urgency to rehabilitate the only toilet and market center in the area. The residents say several requests to the assembly have not proved any results.
The Ahomahomaso toilet facility and the market center were constructed by the Fantiakwa District Assembly with the support of community members in 1995, after which they were handed over to the community to manage. The toilet facility and market centers have seen no major rehabilitation works for 18 years. According to the Fantiakwa District Assembly, there is no fund for the rehabilitation of these community facilities. Some residents spoke to Joy News about the state of the toilet. The residents also complained about the way the toilet is not kept clean and how people defecate in polythene bags and throw them indiscriminately in the community. They called on government to come to their aid and help rehabilitate the toilet facility and the market center.
Now, government has hinted on plans to construct one divisional police station and a court at Abuabo in the Kumasi metropolis. This, it says, would help curb scandalous behavior in the area. According to the Ashanti Regional Police Minister, enough housing would also be provided for police personnel posted to the station. Mohammed Nuruddin has filed this report.
Salah Fest is a festival organized annually by several tribes in the Zongo community in the Ashanti region together to promote peace. It also opens a prospect for participants to learn their culture, tradition, and have a better understanding of other tribes' cultures. This year's Salah Fest witnessed large numbers of participants. Over 15 tribes, including chiefs from various ethnic groups, participated in the festivity. Cultural display and dancing competition took place among the Zongo tribes. Grushi Sisala tribe won the competition and received 1,000 Ghana cedis and a trophy. A planning committee member of the event, Ali Suleiman, appealed to other tribes in the Zongo community to participate in next year's event. Partners of the program Inshura FM of the Multimedia Group was awarded for their benevolent contribution.
You're watching the Midday Brief. More stories ahead. Don't go away. You're welcome back, and moving right into some business news. According to EcoBank Research latest analysis, Ghana's banking industry came second after Nigeria and the ECOWAS sub-region with an asset size of $14.27 billion. However, the rest of the 14 countries in the region have banking sectors that are less than $1 billion each. According to the report, the banking penetration in the country is still low at 39%. This indicates that there are still opportunities for further expansion of the sector balance sheet in Ghana. The key opportunities for the balance sheet expansion is said will come from the oil and gas, cocoa and telecom sectors, where transactions are usually large. Meanwhile, the top 5 banks accounted for 45.8, 36.3 and 47.2% of aggregate assets, loans and deposits respectively in 2012. They also accounted for 47.5% of the industry branch network, which grew from 360 branches in 2004 to 833 branches in 2012. The report added that the branch network is set to increase in the next 3 years as banks implement their expansion strategies. Now, we'll find out pretty shortly how we can use this to advantage and how banks in the country can expand their balance sheets. But just before we do that, let's talk about the pharmacists. And if you remember, the Minister of Health, Sherry Aite, in May inaugurated a subcommittee to resolve the grievances of pharmacists. And the committee last month presented its report. What we now understand is government and hospital pharmacists will this week meet government on this subcommittee's report. You remember also that they have agitated that the contents of the recommendations of this report have not been adhered to. Stephen Kokwe is chairman of the Government Hospital Pharmacists Association. He's joining me by telephone so that we can understand exactly what the discussions this week could be with government. Hello, Stephen.
Yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Absolutely, good afternoon. Let's start by understanding what the recommendations of the subcommittee report are.
In fact, the recommendations have vindicated all the issues that we actually hitherto for the past 3 years have always been saying about. The issue about the grade structure and the convention difference and then the market premium. It's all been vindicated, gospel has been vindicated in the report, and we expect that the recommendations that have been made in the report will be implemented so that our members would provide the services that is best provide to our clients. As I speak now, the morale of our members are very low. They are very dissatisfied. They've been waiting all along for this to come up. And therefore, the provision of pharmaceutical service is not the best in all our hospitals. Quite recently, we had a report that the use of uterotonics, which is very, very important in the care of in reducing maternal mortality, is something that has to be dealt with. And usually the experts are the pharmacists. And if we don't take other issues that the pharmacists actually handle, would also be compromised, and we cannot guarantee the provision of pharmaceutical services.
I see. And so tomorrow, of course, we don't expect that once you get at the table, government would say that we accepting your demands and we are implementing everything. What wouldn't you expect government to bring to the table tomorrow or at your meeting?
Yeah, we are hopeful that the 4-member committee, which government itself set up from cabinet, and to look at these issues, listen to both sides, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission and the Government and Hospital Farmers Association. And like I said, all the issues that we actually talk about for the past years have been vindicated, and therefore we don't see the reason why there should be a delay in the implementation of this report. And that will bring our case to an end so that we can do what we do best.
Right. Now, you've asked for the payment of your conversion difference and then the payment of the market premium. Let's not forget that the court ruled in favor of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over time has said the market premium has not been given across board, but there is an interim market premium. Can't we wait for the full implementation of the market premium so that we can start demanding it?
You see, before these new guidelines for the market premium came in, Fair Wages actually brought up what we call they now term it interim market premium arrangements. And we from day one have not accepted the percentages that has given to us. That is why we actually pursued it through the National Labour Commission, and then we end up with the rulings coming up. So we expect that the entry market premium that we have talked about, we should have a fair, and there should be fairness and equity in that area before we go in for the new guidelines. And I think that that would actually also address the issues of low salaries that have been paid to us because of the fact that our previous salaries were higher than what was being paid to us now. And that has actually reduced our pension. And it is definitely causing a lot of havoc to us, because every time they do an increment in base salary, we still doesn't.
We lost Kokwe there. Stephen Kokwe is chairman of the Government Hospital and Pharmacists Association. He tells us the morale of their members are low, and then he's also made mention of the fact that they are hopeful that in their meeting with the president in the course of the week, the recommendations by the 4-member committee set up by the Minister of Health, Sherry Aite, would be implemented, and they'll get their conversion difference as well as their market premium, in spite of the fact that the court ruled in favor of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. And you're watching the Midday Brief. I'll be back shortly. Hello again, this is the Midday Brief, and I am Kemini Nyamani Amano. Let's now do some international news and make a stop in Nigeria. And it has been 2 weeks since the country's military announced that Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau died in Cameroon in early August following injuries sustained in a battle. There, however, is still no confirmation or proof of this death. The military says it's got Boko Haram on the run, and over 3,000 people have been killed in attacks by Boko Haram. Joining us by telephone is Chuku Emeka Eze. He's a director of programs at WANEP. Hello, Chuku. Good afternoon to you too. But let's look at the issue of Boko Haram. The military has told us Abubakar Shakor died. We're hoping that things will subside with Boko Haram. Then we saw the rise of vigilantes and how Boko Haram dealt with vigilantes in the area. What should we be doing now?
Well, I think first of all is to sustain the effort in terms of the security network in Nigeria, but also to explore other options that are being proposed by the government, including the possibility to dialogue with the members of the insurgent group. I did not consider it that once the leader of Boko Haram dies, then that is everything is over. If you look at it very critically, he is heading one of the insurgent groups, but there has also been in the past breakouts, even people who don't believe in his own leadership. And therefore, there should be reprisal attack coming from members of his group, especially that it now looks more and more like it is true that Abubakar Shakara is actually dead.
Right. The use of vigilantes. I mean, it's been 3.5 months since, the military had a large-scale offensive on Boko Haram. The use of vigilantes, was it a wise move?
I think so, because we are talking here about community policing. These are people within the same environment that know the dynamics of Boko Haram. So they needed to take the lead and also provide the military with the necessary logistics to be able to identify this group and be able to deal with them. However, they should also now be provided with some kind of security, including a plan for a post-Boko Haram era, which includes also what so many people have suggested, integrating them into the current military fold so that they do not in themselves become menace to the society. But I think it was a good move because for the first time, people were able to, if you like to use the word, identify these insurgents camps. And that's the only way the military was able to actually even record some of the successes they've recorded so far.
Right. You programs director at WANEP, but I can understand that you do some research too. Since the announcement of the death of Abubakar Shakor, we've had no proof. I mean, from your observation, from where you sit, is this real or the military is only trying to look strong?
Well, we can only make our analysis on the basis of the antecedents and the indicators available to us. First of all, is that if you have followed very well the antecedents of Abubakar Shekarawi, by now he would have gone on air using the social media to actually say, I am not dead. So the information within the military intelligence is that, yes, he sustained serious battle, and even before he was actually gotten to Cameroon to see one of their medical doctors, that he probably died. So I will only base my conviction on the fact that based on his antecedents, he would have gone on the social media to say, no, it is not true, I am not dead, and even created more panic for the military. But he has not been able to do that, and is getting over now 3 weeks that he has been judged to have died.
Is the military losing the fight against Boko Haram?
I seriously doubt that. I think the military is equal to the task, but the military also, as much as possible, wants to reduce collateral damages. And in that case, it also means that they have to be careful where to hit and where not to hit, so that they not also attract the wrath of the international community in terms of human rights abuses. But I think the Nigerian military is equipped, and I think they have what it takes to fight the terrorists.
In the Arab League, we saw, the effect the Al-Qaeda group had within that league. What are the effects we could see of Boko Haram within our region as well?
Well, I think that's why we are within the same community called ECOWAS, and I think that has been stressed over time, that there is need for collaborative approaches to this. Because even when the Nigerian military is saying that they are dealing with Boko Haram and they are fleeing, it means they are fleeing to other parts of West Africa or a minimum Africa. And therefore, it is important now to collectively provide the kind of security architecture that is able to deal with insurgents once and for all, but also to look at the areas of long-lasting solution, which includes good governance and all the environments that will ensure that the young men and perhaps young women that are involved in the act are well engaged and that they do not resort to that kind of violent extremism.
Do you see the regional bloc doing these things you have mentioned?
I think so. It's been discussed at all levels of ECOWAS, but again, ECOWAS also wants to be restricted to their core mandate, which also includes the respect for national sovereignty. But I think especially the governments around the Sahel region and a bit of Gulf of Guinea, they are discussing and they are also working together. Niger, for example, and Nigeria are working together, and it's all in the name of being members of the same community.
Thank you very much, Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka is Programs Director at the West African Network for Peace, and he joined us with the issue on Boko Haram. Let's now go to Russia, and the President, Vladimir Putin, has warned the United States against taking a one-sided action in Syria, but also says that Russia doesn't exclude the possibility of supporting a United Nations resolution authorizing military strikes. But it has also said that Russia doesn't exclude, well, I believe I already said that. He says that such an endorsement would require convincing evidence that President Bashar al-Assad's government used chemical weapons against citizens. He also says that currently available evidence does not fulfill these criteria.
Team that examined the attack sites near Damascus is waiting lab results on soil and tissue samples. If there are data that chemical weapons have been used, and specifically by the regular army, this evidence would be submitted to the UN Security Council, says Putin, and it ought to be convincing. It shouldn't be based on some rumors and information obtained by special services through some kind of eavesdropping on some conversation and things like that. He also cited experts who believed that the current evidence doesn't look convincing and raised the possibility that the armed opposition had conducted a premeditated provocative action trying to give their sponsors a pretext for military intervention. Putin compared the evidence presented by the U.S. administration so far to false data used by that country to justify the 2003 invasion of Iraq. All these arguments turned out to be untenable, but they were used to launch a military action, which many in the U.S. called a mistake.
Let's go to the United States, where Ariel Castro, who kept women captive at his home in Cleveland, Ohio, has died after being found hanging in his cell. Prison officials said he died in hospital late on Tuesday after prison medical staff failed to revive him. Tigo brings us sports next. Blackstar striker Mahatma Otu believes he stands a very good chance of getting game time in the crucial World Cup qualifier against Zambia. The former House of Folk hitman recently signed for Norwegian side and is itching for game time on Friday.
Well, as a player, I have to do my best during the training section so that well, if I'm started on Friday, I'll be well prepared. As you can see, I'm giving out my best in the training section. So if the coach starts me, I think every player here can, when started, is ready to give up the best to serve our motherland. So when I'm called upon to serve my motherland on Friday in the starting lineup, I'm well ready.
What kind of shape do you think you are in right now?
Well, as you can see, I'm giving my very best training level, and at club level, I've managed to enter the first team. So I think I'm in very good shape.
Meanwhile, the Black Stars have arrived safely in the garden city of Kumasi ahead of that crucial game against the Chipolopolo of Zambia. The team also had officials of the GFA and government functionaries on board. Now, crucial World Cup qualifiers are going to be honored all over the globe this weekend, and we have a preview of some of these games.
On Tuesday, without the likes of Wayne Rooney, Phil Jones and Glenn Johnson, as Roy Hodgson's team prepare for their World Cup qualifiers against Moldova and Ukraine. Striker Rooney missed Manchester United's 1-0 defeat by Liverpool in the Premier League on Sunday after suffering a head injury in training. Clubmate Jones was forced off in the first half, and Liverpool defender Johnson left Anfield on crutches. England's problems ahead of Friday's match against Moldova and the trip to Ukraine the following Tuesday did not end there, as the weekend's Premier League matches also threw up some other doubts. Daniel Sturridge, who scored the winner after just 4 minutes at Anfield and was in line to replace Rooney in the England side, will be assessed after saying he has been playing with a thigh injury. Earlier concern of a midfielder Jack Wilshere, who was replaced near the end of the first half of Arsenal 1-0 victory over Tottenham Hotspur, subsided with manager Arsene Wenger saying he had been hit by a stomach bug rather than injury. England last second in Group H, trailing Montenegro by 2 points with a game in hand and only 1 point ahead of Ukraine.
The Portuguese national soccer squad trained in Obidos on Tuesday for their World Cup qualifier against Northern Ireland in Belfast on Friday. After some initial under-par performances, Portugal moved to the top of Group F on 14 points, 2 points ahead of fellow group favourites Russia and 3 points ahead of Israel. With Portuguese captain Cristiano Ronaldo out injured, Porto midfielder Lika has received his first call-up and could feature on the night.
It's a huge joy, no doubt. I was not expecting it, but I'm happy I got that phone call to join the squad, and here I am fully available to help.
Northern Ireland surprisingly beat Russia 1-0 in August, but the 24-year-old forward believes that the talent at his side's disposal should see them through.
It's going to be an important match, and the national team will have to play at its highest level, and I think we have the quality to win the match if we give all we have on the pitch.
From Spain at the top of Group I standings, Le Bleu coach Didier Deschamps is hopeful of securing 6 points from the next 2 qualifiers, with the 2014 World Cup less than a year away. The group winners automatically qualify for next year's finals in Brazil, with the 8 best runners up from the 9 sections going into a playoff round. France faced 2 tricky assignments, travelling to Georgia for the next clash on Friday before tackling Belarus 4 days later. Worryingly for the 1998 World Cup winners is that they have not scored in their last 4 games, but Deschamps remained positive.
These 2 games will allow us to achieve our objective, which is getting 6 points. This will allow us at least to secure second place in our group. These are very important games. It will allow us to qualify for the World Cup. We'll be playing them away, so it will be complicated. It's true, they won't be very exciting, but we'll have to do our job. It will be hard in Georgia, with the public wearing their country's shirt standing behind their team. We know they will defend and will counter-attack a lot, but it will be up to us to concentrate and play well together and find the solutions in order to win the games.
Meanwhile, Marseille midfielder Dimitri Payet remained optimistic that France can still finish ahead of Spain.
Spain are only 1 point ahead. We can't predict the result. We saw that against Georgia. They scored in the 90th minute, so nothing is done yet. It's ability to overtake Spain if we don't make any mistakes.
When France and Georgia met in the reverse fixture in March, Le Bleu ran out.
Let's do tennis now. And the final Grand Slam tournament of the year, the U.S. Tennis Open, is at its best business end, with Roger Federer, winner of a record 17 Grand Slam titles, falling out to Spanish 19th seed Tommy Robredo 7-6, 6-3, 6-4 in the 4th round, his earliest exit from the U.S. Open in 10 years. It also doomed hopes for a potential quarterfinal match with 12-time major winner Nadal in what would have been the first meeting of the pair's 31-match rivalry at Flushing Meadows. Here are highlights of other games played in the last 24 hours.
Ana Ivanovic and second seed Victoria Azarenka were first up on the Arthur Ashe Stadium on Tuesday to play their 4th round match, which had to be rescheduled due to rain. Azarenka leads their 6-match head-to-head record 4-2 and has not lost to the Serb in the last 3 years. However, it was Ivanovic who started off brightly with an early break of serve, racing to a 3-1 lead. At 5-3 up, she was serving for the set, but the Belarusian fought back, breaking her opponent's serve. The second seed looked certain to level matters at 5-all, but Ivanovic broke back, taking the first set 6-4. There were 5 straight breaks of serve at the start of the second set, but Azarenka stepped up a gear and held serve to go 4-2 up. Ivanovic broke back in the crucial 7th game, but the Australian Open winner kept her cool, breaking her opponent again and holding serve to close out the set 6-3. Azarenka carried the momentum into the decider, breaking the serve early, but the 13 seed fought back to level matters at 3 games each. Despite a resurgence from Ivanovic, Azarenka broke in the 10th game to win the match 4-6, 6-3, 6-4 and book a place in the quarterfinals, where she will face Daniela Hadžičová of Slovakia. Lina took on Ekaterina Makarova in the first of the women's quarterfinals at Flushing Meadows and started off as the favorite, having never lost to the Russian in their previous 3 encounters. Both players had a break of serve at the start of the first set, and Lee added another break in the 7th game before wrapping up the first set 6-4. Again, both players broke each other at the start of the second set, and despite Lee racing to a 3-1 lead, Makarova broke back twice to level the set at 4-all. Both players held their serve, forcing the set into a tiebreak, and Makarova worked her way from 3-love down to win the tiebreak 7-5. The second set loss seemed to spring Lee back to her peak, and she broke in the 6th game to go 4-2 up before another break of serve saw her clinch the match 6-4, 6-7, 6-2.
Let's come back home, and the Black Stars assistant coach Maxwell Konedu believes the quality of players assembled for the Zambian game would create a healthy competition in the side, which would ultimately lead to the desired results. He added that the technical team had a fair idea of who was going to make the starting X1, but would be keeping that firmly to their chest for now.
Of who is going to be playing by Friday?
No, we have to leave that to the head coach to decide.
But you work with him, you would have an idea?
Definitely, I have an idea, but I'm not the person to tell or inform the public as to who is going to start. We have to leave that to him. Of course, I'll be supporting him to do that, but he has to take the final decision.
You have a lot of options in the team, and now that's going to give you a lot of headache, I'm sure.
No, it's good for us. That is how I see it. It's very good for us and for Ghana in general, because the players that came, I think it's a plus for the country and for us too as a technical team.
I was assistant coach Maxwell Konedu, confident with the starting 11 and in doing it for the segment. Welcome back, and time for some showbiz news now. And I'll tell you about someone who's been off the music scene for a little over 5 years, but he's back with a new brand, and a new album. Award-winning gospel musician, also minister of the word, Pastor Josh Alaye, has released his new album, Kani.
Josh Alaye, who is known for his high energy and tactful blend of genres in his songs, launched his 8th studio album titled Kani on September 1 at the Alisa Hotel. The album comes at a time when the artist has rebranded himself after some 16 years. Now known as Chata, he in an earlier interview said the Kani album highlights the darkness inherent in every human being. Full of energy and going by his promise of a night of pure entertainment at the launch, Chata gave his patrons a performance to remember. The launch also saw the live recording of some hit songs from his 7 albums.
That's it for the segment and also for this hour. But a quick recap of our headline. And UTAG president hints of sanctions for the Legon chapter of the association after the Legon UTAG unilaterally called off its strike. Government, Hospital and Pharmacists Association will this week meet government on the subcommittee report. Russian President Vladimir Putin warns U.S. against taking a one-sided action in Syria. Many thanks for your company. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our programs. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye.